During my time teaching, I also noticed that students kind of lacked a general strategy for how to learn new material. So I wanted to share with you some tactics that I kind of used myself during my undergraduate and graduate days studying mathematics and see if they're helpful to you. So let's say you get to that new formula or that new method of differentiation or whatever you happen to be working on that's new, and you just really don't understand it. The first thing you should do is look at an example of something related to what you're studying. For example, if you're looking at the chain rule, look at a written out example of the chain rule or have a tutor do an example of the chain rule and really ask yourself at each individual step, did I understand that step? And if you don't, read back a little bit in the book and see which step you're not understanding. Now, once you get through the entire example and you know at every step, yes, I understand this step, I understand the answer, it makes sense, great. Now, try and write out this example yourself. So write the problem statement of the example out on a sheet of paper. Then work yourself through the problem and only look back at the book if you've really come to a point where you've stumped yourself. Don't use the book as a guide and just kind of copy it down on your piece of paper, because that won't really help you learn anything. Only look back at the book until you get stumped. This way, it'll really point out steps of the problem that you're still not understanding. So go back and review those and practice working on this problem until you get relatively confident with it to say, yeah, I can do this example. This is no problem. Next, try a problem yourself and don't look at the book. This is helpful if you have another example that you haven't yet looked at. Just copy down the problem statement and work through the problem yourself entirely until you get to the answer. Then compare your work with the example or answer in the book. This will really help you catch any mistakes that you made while you were working independently. But if you've done it correctly, by this point you should be pretty confident and should be getting the right answer. So this kind of trains you to go through a problem and make yourself confident at every step that you're making the correct calculation, the correct sign, or using the correct concept or theorem. This is going to be very helpful. Okay, just to go over it again. Step 1, look at an example, go through each step, and see if it makes sense. Step 2, work out a problem yourself and use a problem where you know you have a complete solution to it. And when you get done working on the problem, check the complete solution and see where you're right and where you're wrong. Repeat this until you're getting the right answer for this example. Step 3 is to go ahead and start tackling your homework. Through step 1 and step 2, you should fill in most of your gaps in information. And by step 3, you should be fairly grasping the material. Just repeat this step until you can move on to the next one. Hope this helps.